you would probably hear about 8. If there's a lot of blends, you know, and back and Raleigh, so there is
And I'll see if that one works.
of course, it was in last week, and people always did it, done that before, so could you do that again? Reservations have been on this. So if you're supposed to go around, talk to one of those, I think it's a wonderful thing to do. I really encourage everybody to go out and do that.
Yeah, I'm wondering why it's not. Oh, finally.
So
It's like over 8 years old. Second.
All right, that is not. This week is last week. We still got 65. Good. So,
Okay. Good odds. Really good odds.
City number 800 2 7 8 4 5. In service.
Oh, it's Amy. Because
thank you guys for supporting that raffle. And I think you have that as right? So the raffle prices are going to support our Rotary exchange.
Hi, Mary.
So,
I was trying to balance the four tasks. But
and you really need to find we are identifying that is really better. If you're worried about holidays or anything, all summer,
let me find where it's in. Here we are.
So, on the screen, you see some local areas here. To the left is the Raleigh, fire. And in the middle, we don't know who that is quite yet. Go forward, or look, or Raleigh Club, super hero, favorite, like that time. So, please give us a round of applause.
Good day, service here. Little housekeeping first before we start on the reading. I had a great service club service committee meeting last week. We did the year, had some great feedback. We talked about leading into some projects regarding to a presentation. Lately, as the gentleman came about 10th, we talked about maybe having a club project with electric brackets. So it's a very good meeting. Looking forward to another strong year. March 23rd, we will be doing our street cleanup at the Lions Park. President and Tom will orchestrate that. It's going to be twice a year. So that's on the calendar. We'll also be setting up the dates to do sorting for Wake Up and Read at their place on Capitol Boulevard. President Harry really wants to kind of see the after effect of our election. So we're going to be sorting books at a date to be determined in March. Now, Wake Up and Read. It's complete finally after a month and a half. I want to give a special shout out to our guests. As many of you have seen, around the month of February, I reached out to a local person and asked to take a photograph of the big book. Well, our chief here, within the hour, he said, at night, he said, absolutely. And he took it a step further, and he said, can we collect books on behalf of the Deepwood, great community? And I said, sure, no problem. So I collected books, and, Leslie Oliver lives on Deepway, and I asked if she could take that over. And she said, got it, so she would never, said, we're gonna need a bigger boat. So I think it was almost 900 books. The community collected. And, he really showed his leadership in the community, not just the police force, the entire community, because he really rallied, and there's so many posts around that much. It's very humbling. We can't say it. So that being said, we had a enormous amount of books, and we also had an enormous amount of donations, and we reached out to Belridge Books, and they told us that they would give us a deal on the books, and I think it equaled out to about $1.50, $2 per book. So we haven't made that purchase yet, but we based it on that math of what we collected. Our total is 4,193 books. Yeah, that's based on the back. So, but it's because of y'all have inspired a community. Again, I can't tell you how important literacy is. I can go on days and days about statistics, but I always go back to this. This community wants to grow, be prosperous, be vibrant. Then our kids need to learn how to read, and you're making that happen. That is service to us. So thank you all. Thank you all for your hard work. And like it's over now, we're doing some one-day projects and April. But thank you again. Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Chief Medina. And Richard, this is the third year running this project, and I feel like it's an exponential increase every single year of the books that we collect. So thank you again, Richard, for your leadership in that. So I'm like to engage on this, I'm sorry. Thank you. So district-wise, there is this is going to be the fourth annual District Day of Service on Saturday, April 20th, 2024. And that coincides with Columbus Day. Falls very close to the day. And this year, the district is going to be working on building a greenhouse at Morrisville Community Garden. That greenhouse is going to be made entirely out of water bottles, empty water bottles. So they have asked each club in the district to collect 100 water bottles. We got a few brought in today, so thank you guys for all those that brought in those water bottles. So collect them throughout the week. They can be any size, just they need to be empty. Bring them to a club meeting and people deliver them to where they need to go. And if you like to build things, I will give you, let me know, and I will get you contact information for the lady that is from the program. So Harrison Turner, membership.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. My name is Harrison Turner. For those that don't know me, I'm the part of leadership for Raleigh. Thank you so much for being here today. Not too much to report. We're going to have a blue badge ceremony for Sue Keith, who could not be here, but I believe she's on Zoom. We want to make sure we can give that to her in person, so we'll have that at the next meeting. It also looks like we had a good service social. Thanks to those who have come out. Service socials are a great opportunity for you to connect with people at the club that you usually don't, as well as to share your mind, or maybe just bring someone who's not familiar with Rotary to, kind of a non-traditional meeting format to kind of get, to get them involved. So keep that in mind as we look at our March social fund that we're doing in Spring.
Thank you, Erica. Hey, and our March social will be here at the end of the month at Tobacco Ready. So birthdays and anniversaries. Age like birthdays. It is a very special Rotarian's birthday today. Who's been a long time member of the club. Surrey Roberts, right here next to David Forrest, and give them a round of applause. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Serene. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, and then on Wednesday, John Newby has a birthday, and then Lynn Manus on, Saturday has a birthday. And no anniversaries this week. So with that, it's time to invite one of my most favorite people, members, my dad, who's gonna introduce another person, my mom. Introduce our speaker. Thank you.
Pleased to do it, and thank you, President Carey. So I'm honored to introduce our guest speaker today, and I have a few notes here to make sure I stay on track. So, Jamie Larson began her career taking her undergraduate degree from Rice University in Houston, Texas. She majored in business and computer science. Then she moved from Texas to North Carolina to start working at IBM as a technical writer, which IBM called information developer. After taking time to start a family, she continued her graduate studies at NC State University, where she got a master's degree in technical communication and in computer science. So for the past year, she joined the English department at teaching technical communication. For the past 25 years, she's taught professional and technical writing at NC State University. Jamie's experience as a professor and currently director of the professional writing program also includes developing multicultural programs and curriculum teaching technical communication certification programs to students all over the world, including managing China, Nagoya in Japan, and County in Saudi Arabia. So she's taught all over the world technical communications. For research, presentations, and publications such as the IPA Journal, the titles of some of the published articles and presentations include active and interactive learning online, a comparison of web-based and conventional writing classes, professional trends in social media, curriculum development across cultures, and integrating creative thinking throughout the writing process. Jamie lives with her husband. She has two children, one of which you know very well, and an incredible grandson. It is a real privilege and honor to introduce Jamie Larson, the director of Technical Writing Program and Professional Writing Program.
Here, sound, start. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. I'm excited to come talk to you a little bit about communication in the workplace, practices and trends. This has been an important part of my research and really the foundation of my teaching these days. Everybody get the lesson? Okay.
Oh, you have to go press down to go forward.
Okay. We'll be talking a bit about the professional writing program. I'm going to talk about the Education Group Workplace Research for the most part of this presentation. I'll show a few results from the Tennessee report, talk about the implications, and have a slight Q&A. The professional writing program, what do we do? We prepare students to communicate once they graduate. How are they going to write professionally? What are they going to do with graduate school? That's really our purpose. We're a writing intensive service course. What does that mean? It means that students are required, in most or a lot of majors, are highly advised to take our courses. So we're high demand courses. Who we teach? We teach the juniors and seniors. So these are people not freshmen, sophomore, they think they're done with English, freshmen, and they get up. So they're not happy campers. So it's not they're done with it. But the juniors and seniors, they're across the University, the engineers, business majors, and the science majors. And in fact, we have our program split into 3 separate courses. We have science learning objectives, for these courses, but we group students by major. We have a communication and engineering course, we have a business and management course, we have science and research course. They're a little bit different. We found in the years that those students taking engineering and business courses, 70% are headed to industry, 30% graduate school, and that's kind of split in the science courses. About 70% headed to graduate school, 30 to business. So we tailor our courses to meet our students' needs. So the science courses, we're emphasizing graduate schools, so science, writing, and law. How we keep our courses current? Class of incoming class 2023. So I go my notes.
I gotcha.
Okay. In phases I might see in 3 or 4 years. The future of the incoming class. But we keep our courses current, and it's very important to do that. You know how this is changing since 2020. It's been really keeping our courses current with technology. We have conferences, professional development programs, getting our faculty conduct individual research, attend conferences like the Association of Teachers of Technical Writing, Everywhere International Conferences, carried out in 2018 in Spain. But we attend conferences keeping our courses current, and we also have one study I'm going to talk about, which is really identifiable. It's been a 25-year ongoing study that we've done. It's actually used by other universities and internationally. We've created a body of work researching how to put that and communicate on the job. Basically, I give you a little bit of a history of the report and the methodology. We collect both quantitative and qualitative data. Seeing statistically what professionals are doing out there, so we can draw sound conclusions on pedagogy. So, okay. The history of the report, we're really the 6th iteration of this. This defines my 25-year career, actually. I was privileged enough to be involved in the very first report in 1996. There's 3 of us, we had a small grant, and we basically had a purpose of, let's talk about what can NC State universities expect once they graduate. That was really our focus. So we designed this study to gather some data. It gained momentum, and 5 years later, we repeated it. And after the 6th iteration, we now have the research that shows trends, things that have changed, certainly, from 1996 to now, professionals are communicating on their job, and things that have not changed, which is just as interesting. So, the methodology is basically, it's a large-scale research collaboration between students and researchers. What we do in these courses, and we are currently doing 59 sections of these courses, we have every student go out and interview a professional in their field during one semester. We use the same survey and the same interview questions, and we gather all of this data. We analyze it, and because we have so much data, this past in 2022, we had 800 professionals interviewed. We have all of the students write reports about their interview process, what they gathered in that. We analyze those. We got all of this data. We were able to make significantly valid claims and draw some conclusions. Factor analysis shows, which has been consistent through the 6 iterations, that is kind of intuitive, but large writing projects like formal proposals are typically done on teams. And we have the data to prove, show that this is true. But we've also, the qualitative is that we collect the student report, and some instructors vary their assignments on this. You might have a full report or formal report, they might do it collaboratively, you know, tell everybody how to run this, we can run the same assignment, gather the data. We analyze these and we code that data to see the quotes, the trends that professionals are saying, and that's often of most interest in these students. We recruit faculty from there, we collect reports, and we actually code reports, great big bell sheets, and read every comment professionals have said, and we code them for audience or purpose, or this last go around penned in PAN. And we collected that again Yes, I put it down to a 63-page report. We have a report, and I'll provide a QR code to you at the end of the semester, in case you're interested in reading the report. I'm going to talk about just briefly a couple of things from the report. Overview of the professionals, show a little data about time spent writing on the job and the importance of communication skills, and then effective pandemic. That was a big section of our current report. Basically, some data here I'm just throwing out. This is proven pretty consistent. 56% for large companies, 24% for small companies. Why is that important? Well, we look at that data. We have such a big data set. We can start saying people at big companies are doing different things than people at small companies. What are they? And we can help teach our students the kinds of documents and providing that respect. 50% private, public. That's changed a little bit through the years, not right. This is important, 60% held a bachelor's degree, 20% master's, 12% a terminal degree. I'm just pointing that is because we ask our students to interview professionals that are out on the job about 1 to 5 years. We want them to be talking to people that are doing the jobs they will have. Many, of course, are interviewing relatives or other people, and that's fine. We have a broad base of data we can learn. This is just a breakdown of professions, and we use this on each iteration's report as we analyze our data. We break them into education fields, engineering, finance, accounting, management, marketing, programming, research, and elsewhere. You can see it's pretty big there. That's kind of the outline. We're not using that in the data that we analyze. And those are basically lawyers or doctors or people that are just in smaller niche kind of jobs. We really break these into these large categories so that we can ask the question, are engineers communicating differently than business majors or managers? Well, yes, or marketing. Engineers are not really dealing with clients as much as business or marketing people are. So what does that tell us? Well, we do some different things in our business courses than we do in the engineering courses. This is just a copy of the front page of the report. It's authors just go around. It's very weird, but it's a collaborative effort. It is the entire faculty. We have 16 faculty right now, 6 TAs, but everybody gets involved in this process. It's really, we gather the data over 1 semester, we analyze it over semester or summer, and we publish it. And then we take it on the road. So I'm taking it on the road now, but we've been going to conferences and talking about it. This report has gained a lot of national attention, quoted in textbooks, and internationally. I've gone to Oxford University wanting access to our data. So it's become significant just because I think the longevity of the trend, finance. This is just basically, I'm not going to read each of these. This is just the table of contents of this report. It's representative. It's varied over the years. We don't keep the same sections. Certainly, we haven't had a section on effects of COVID that this report did for the first time. So we gear it to the trends we're seeing, but all of that is appendices, the data, and everything that we have. And that's often because students like us. We use this report in our classes, and I do in mine, to have students look at this and say, oh, writing is important. Well, I'm going to be doing this on a job. I better pay attention to some of them. But they like the data. We have lots of tables. We have lots of graphs. So that's really good. Just one statistic I wanted when I was time spent writing on the job. And you can see here, this is our current chart of this, and I'll just net it out. But basically, the mean is about 30.5% amount of time during the work week was professionals they spend writing on the job. That statistic has not changed over 25 years. That's astounding to us. And it's across professions. It's not specific or different from engineers to the other professions. We've got the third iteration of the report, we might start seeing changes, email and conversion, online communications, those kind of things, has not. Except it's varied through the year from as low as 30% to 3.5 this year to 39%. But that's been held true. We're always kind of surprised at that data. We ask professionals to rate the quality, writing qualities support to job performance. And this is a great chart to have students look at. Extremely important. So those juniors and seniors who are in our courses dragging their feet begin to say, oh, there's a reason for this. There might be some value to this course when I'm going through. We also ask about career advancement, our survey question. So that's an actual survey question. Has this changed over 25 years? No. It's remained basically the same. Professional quotes are our biggest asset, our biggest draw. Students love those. So I got a couple out here. One for the score was benefits of accurate and clear communication leads to less questions and easier implementation. Ineffective communications will cause confusion, lack of confidence in leadership, and overall poor results. In other words, it's bad. So that's resounding from the students. This is a good quote we had. Often we won't continue on the same work or project for a while, so it's very important to document what you did and why. So other people can pick up where you left off, and you don't have to rework everything you already did, just to understand it. This is important for students to understand. Writing's not a goal, but speaking becomes writing. What you write becomes part of something else you're doing, and it's a process. And that's a really important concept for students to understand. Also, I love this quote. If you write a bad document, it wastes everyone's time, sometimes to a large degree. So one's wasting time and money. So we teach them effective writing. So I can make this process faster. Less is best, is what I want to tell my students. Give it to me concisely, bottom line, you do it well, and give me a picture too. That's always useful. Effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, we had a lot. I just have one chart from the documents here. But we have people showing the percentage of work we spend communicating from home, and of course this changed drastically. This is just a chart here, basically the data here in that side. It's a little hard to see with this graph. I'm not a fan of this type of item design this forecast. You won't get credit for it. Basically, when it's showing average out to 70 to 100%, you've got about 30% of the time people are spending working at home. That 91 to 100% is indicated by 20-something% of the professionals in the average age rating. That's about a third of them. That was a big hit. And basically, I can summarize this quote. It is the most profound business disruption in this generation. So how did they adjust? What are people doing? And what's happening now? So the next iteration, we are starting to go down into this with some of the feedback we got, has some of the things that happened and adjusting to it remain. Have they changed to say, will this statistic change as people begin to migrate back to the office? So I want to show you like a little bit of the findings from here, but I picked out 3 points. Social distancing had different effects among different industries. Research, education, medical. I picked out 3 of them, and a lot of professionals talked about this. Overall, there are a lot of other effects, but I chose these 3 to highlight in this talk. One researcher noted that IRB, this is quote, shut down new research for 16 months. Lab animals and cultures had to be reapproved to continue. Can you imagine students teaching math and how they grapple with that? It is a major the education, of course, the families, online classes, how to take classes from Zoom. It was immediate too. Shutdown happened. Fortunately, the professional writing program, because we teach the technical professional writing, we had already been teaching hybrid and online courses. We were pivotal in the English department. College of Humanities, Sciences are moving our courses online. We were already doing it. What happened when that hit was we were called on to teach other faculty how to go out and design their courses online and hybrid. And so that move found that occasionally never got from the those, we had a lot of that. But the new communication technologies became a standard as companies found solutions for remote work. This became repeated in our report. You'll see a lot of quotes about what they were using on the work and the challenges the professionals had with that. Pros and cons. Not everything was bad. Not everything has been a negative effect. Some of this is found, but some of the people, and especially companies that have been designed with open office layouts, have really staggering effects. How to deal with that. One person quoted, "You can't just go over to the next cubicle and talk to your coworker." So there's a lot of commenting about how to collaborate and get work done, even using these new communication technologies. Employers worry, so a lot of feedback, and these are trends, like I said, really that quality of data, and the trends, what we're saying. about the long lasting effects on new employees and their ability to communicate and learn company culture. There's a big concern. This is something we'll certainly be tracking the next go round of this, how the companies adjust to this, but these, for collaboration, it made it difficult. One person quoted, yeah, I like the quotes here. There's the inability to communicate, to build interpersonal connection. And this would translate into more effective collaboration in the workplace. So this has been big for grappling with. And new employees, students coming out of this and into the workplace and not really getting the kind of necessary face-to-face interaction that they might need to assimilate into a culture. That's been something that's this is just to show the positives and negatives, not only negative Nancy over here. Some of the positives where they offer convenience, they require less travel, provide flexibility with visuals. Well, you know, we was teaching cinematic. I mean, that became kind of a subtopic in our courses. How can you be effective in these online meetings? You know, how do you design your visuals for it? Don't be rude in your chat, you know, things like that. So, yeah, there's been some negatives. It's complicated again, the collaboration. It's complicated the development of relationships. And really that's important. I think you're going to see that reflected in the next go round. You're certainly going to be focusing some questions, some of our survey questions, like gathering information on how companies have dealt with that. Dealing with the relationships. Implications. State if they think to do, what are we going to do? Changes in electronic communication are ongoing. So certainly, I like this quote, COVID technology was the only way we were able to do our job effectively communicate. But we realize that and we keep up with that. And like I said, our program is fortunate enough that we keep ourselves current, constantly looking at Delta, which is the technology training part of state, and we often teach some of their workshops as well. Chat, writing, and text are getting around. It's acceptable and preferred mediums of workplace in the community. And with managers, that was something that gave I'm not showing you all my data, but I had a really cool chart of how chat and IBM from 2018 became 2022 to be more acceptable, even with the managers. So what does that tell us? You know, we need to be addressing that. How can be effective? And what are the right ways to use it and the wrong ways to use it? Or maybe I shouldn't say right or wrong, effective ways, ineffective ways to use it. Laptops, of course, is a dominant professional communication device. That switched a little bit. Consider, but that's just a type of not earth-shattering finding here, but it's just a type of data. We have just all kinds of data here that we can sit down and look at and go back and which I like. So that's what I would like. But I just put one chart here. You can see when it compares to 2018, 2022, just business applications we didn't even ask about. 2018, Slack, Zoom, rating, but even other rating. Okay, you can see 22%. Supervisors, we break it down as co-workers, clients, or other stakeholders, having students or having professionals identify who they're communicating. And you can see that's now on the radar. We certainly be studying business applications and how companies internally are handling and adjusting to, again, technology changes and things like pandemic or whatever comes down with hiking and the computer. So we have a good chart of that. Next steps to do. We're going to track the pandemic effects on communication in the workplace for the next iteration of research. Again, our program kind of takes this 5 year. We've spent basically 2 years setting up, and you know how many committees are. We have a committee that spends a semester, you know, planning it, next semester implementing, day together. We roll it out. We kind of give ourselves a couple of years. We start the whole process again. We're beginning to reflect on the best program assessments. We're going to be coming out with good research on just assessing programs in the next couple of years. Generative AI, policy, that's on the radar. That certainly will be part of the research we gather. That's kind of come out of blue. It's a big topic. Most universities are dealing with this. I've been in, I can't tell you how many workshops and talks in the last 4 or 5 months
is grappling with this. I will say this, it's not my quote, but no university in the United States really has a set AI policy. AI policy, it's just out there because it's changing so much. They're coming out with the next model, it's almost yearly. How do we adjust? Students are getting savvy at using it, the pros and cons of it. So it's a lot involved with that. Basically state, or we have in our program, a teacher-oriented and a student-oriented policy. Like instructors are doing what they want to do. Nothing really set. You can do a teacher-oriented saying, no, you can't use it, it's plagiarism and it's gonna not do well in the course. Or use it, but you decide it, here's how to use it, you know, what are the best ways to use it, how can it be a tool? And that's really where we're gonna end up going. And my point, because it is another tool. And you may hear this term down the pipe, I've started hearing it. It talks about prompt engineering. We better heard that term. That's been talked about how we teach our students to use this tool that prompts to get the kind of text or results they want. And then how do they go about using it? So it's really involving critical thinking skills. The problem with AI, the biggest problem, is that it does not consider context or audience. You can pose it a question, but it's not going to give you that kind of answer or problem solve. It doesn't take that into account yet. And I had a leading, I'm in university doing major research on AI, say yet. Because it's addressing that. There are different models of it. But, you know, it's coming in how to grapple with that in the classes is what we'll be studying. And just learning about it, how we use it, the impact on industry. Of course, that's what we're going to get from the professionals. How prevalent is it? How's it being used? How can we teach it? Effective. And basically, I think, as I said, the particulars of AI is that it does not consider the readers or the users of the information as it's creating answers to questions. And that's basically what our classes are. So I'm not really worried about my job or the job of the program. We're going to be around because it's just not doing it. And it is. We're going to learn how to use it. Probably that's our next steps with that. So that said, your Q&A here is a QR code. You can access it before.
Definitely.
Okay.
How are you and how are other faculty and students using AI presently? And what do you foresee going forward?
How are they, what they're using, our students could go in and plug in an assignment and say, write the paper. I mean, they can do that, and they've done it, and it's pretty obvious. I've had a couple of students do that. Big problem is one, you know, that the source of record, they're using it like that. I mean, some students are. Now some, and as I'm trying to teach my students, is use it in the planning stage, or use it in your drafting stage, kind of like Wikipedia, because everybody got shake and bake about that years ago on. You know, but it's a tool, you don't cite it, not credible, but it can start you on the road to finding sources. This is a tool. If we can teach our students how to critically think about it that way and use it, you know, as a tool to become more effective, but not rely on it. So it's obvious. I've had last semester, I had a student came in and in the middle of a paragraph, sounded pretty well written, pretty coherent, it's just garbage. And standing, it's garbage words, and that's how models work. A lot of the AI models are picking up words and statistically analyze what's next most used word. It's not effective. But so I hope I've answered the question. I mean, we're grappling with this. Nobody has a definitive answer. And a lot of, I mean, the instructors who were saying, no, can't use it, it's parallel with plagiarism or whatever. You know, we have policemen here. We're not police. You know, we can't do that, and we can't. That's not our job. I don't think you can effectively, you know, do that. So we're going to have to see how it goes. I will say this in answer to my LinkedIn profiles. I have that as a final assignment in my class, which is helping students create it. It's on low stakes kind of last assignment. And what's happening is now no longer people are doing the keyword searches. You have AI doing the keyword searches. And there's what's called a black box. And people or researchers don't know what's in that, how the searches are going on, and what's being used to do that. So that's tough. You know, how do we teach students how to effectively address that and design their profiles are just for the purpose to get keyword hits. And when you're not even having a person doing it. So the ramifications are astounding, what's gonna come down the pipe.
I guess to go from AI to something more basic, how many of your writing students would you say, what percentage are able to diagram a sentence?
Well, I don't remember actually the diagram of it, but, I would say the juniors and seniors, these are students who made it out of the courses. These students are really the finest. I tell my engineers, you're the best and the brightest, and it's always been a privilege to teach you. You know, I mean, and I also tell them, y'all really pretty good writers already. Why? Because writing is problem solving. And that's what it is, it's a process, and I teach it as a process, we teach it as a process. Okay, and so most of them are pretty good writers. Now, the bubble coming out of those students who spent their senior years at home, you know, because of the pandemic or whatever, we're having some problems. You know, there's been a market, the freshman year program is blue. I mean, you know, like, how are we dealing with this? So we're seeing some of it, but on the whole, these are students who made it through the focus. A lot of them have had internships, co-ops. No, it's good. All of that. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer the question.
Since you've been able to do this for as long as you have you seen a change in what people are talking about, or is that not part of it? Like, obviously, how we communicate in terms of the technology has changed, but what we're communicating has that changed as well?
Oh, well, I think so. You know, I mean, it is what, meaning what in specific industries. The way we segment report, we're really getting what are education people talking about? What are the marketing people? We really split, you know, we're looking at that. So if we see different conversations and say that, you know, I mean, marketing and telemarketing had an impact on what that conversations were going. Engineering, and this is probably about 20 years ago, so I'm dating myself now, really. The first engineering, you know, was a big topic way back then. I mean, so topics have emerged, but I mean, the conversation now, I mean, would have to be, and is, you know, the AI, that we're trying to with, and then the pandemic, the technology, the home office, you know, the home. But yes, there have been topic changes that move from individual office spaces to working with, you know, non-office space. That is a big topic, you know, a conversation, how we deal with that. And from our standpoint, from a communication standpoint, we also have oral communications, as we teach, but are we equipping our students to deal with that? How do they handle themselves in meetings? How do you run a meeting effectively? So we have them doing that. So yes, I think yes, it's answering your question. There's just some examples of it just off the top of my head. Good question, thank you.
Right. Do you speak on the volume of workplace messaging? The reason that I asked that is I've been in banking now for 33 years, and used to be we got a home office packet of information with 10 or 15 updates and items, and now most everybody in every sort of setting in the corporate world gets inundated with emails constantly. Is that a topic that you address?
Oh, sure. And in fact, our data showed, I didn't show the chart, but email is the highest, the most predominant form of communication now. It's 66% or something across professions, that's sure. We talk about that has become a separate genre, addressing that, writing effective emails. You know, it's almost like people reports when you need to make longer documents, but yes, that's a big topic. Usually most people have units addressing that. So it's just be preparing students to be able to deal with. That's a good topic. Actually, I've thought from the standpoint of to be really address dealing with the volume, how to be savvy readers, savvy sifters. You know, really, I don't think I've ever really addressed the topic head on like that. But when we're addressing it from savvy writers, writing a subject line that says, read me, you know, it's important. You know, we do that. So, you know, that's a good point to make. Prepare. Thank you very much. you, go sit down. You do, for the sake of time, you do have a great story about the Challenger explosion, and you met one of the principal engineers on that. And we do have a few minutes, if you don't mind, that being a communication issue, right? Can you quickly say?
Yeah, I know the monkey Rogers, who's on the team, Mark Cycle, who designed the elevator. Leak the gas caused the Challenger to explode. He had identified the company, he's written a bunch of books have been written about this. Memos that look, and I actually had students read a memo that was written in the company 2 years before it happened, saying, this is gonna happen. Okay, they knew they had warnings, they were doing the testing, but it got buried. And here's where the communication situations comes in to play, because the engineers were at one place, like someone place, and NASA was kind of Florida launch. Managers were down there, and they were communicating at that time just over really kind of hello communication, not even like Scott now. And the engineers could not convey don't launch, because we know, we have photographic evidence, temperatures under 50 degrees, these O-rings will pipe up and they're gonna leak gas, don't launch. And they've never had an accident, Reagan had his education initiative, everything was a go. They didn't really have the physical pictures, I don't think, at that time. This is where communication channels come in, and they launched. And Roger blew the whistle. He got blacklisted from and fired for he handed over all of his evidence, he had to breakdown. And then he rebuilt his career going around the universities, teaching engineers to be whistleblowers, engineering students, telling them you need to be whistleblowers. And so he was a fascinating lunch, you know, because I sat there, we first sat down and spouted off what I had read. And he just looked at me and goes, nah, you know, I won't use the word he used, like company, but he was a character. But he said they were just gonna launch no matter what he said. It was political. And that was his marketing, but he really said it wasn't political. But that is it, and I use it with my students because technical communication, I love this quote, I say it in the first semester, and most of them go, I say it can have fatal consequences. Ineffective communication, that's how I'm gonna prove it. And so, you know, I take it very seriously, it's a passion of mine, and I think students on the whole, as they get through with our courses, really realize these are valuable skills. They're gonna use.
On the back, it has a 4-point test, which you've heard Dad and I say many times. One of the, as Mom was hinting, or not hinting at, but as you said, ethical discussions are something you teach in your class. And before I started my job, I thought that was a very black and white thing, but it's not. And that's an important segment that you have. And thank you.
And I survived for parties and her friends.
All right, Rotary, can you all rise with me and repeat the 4-point test? Remember the March 23rd was a girls' kind of trip. Think about going, that's a great time. Also, committee meetings. If you're not online, please join a committee. You can join us too. And this is the time where we will. Please call somebody on board. We would love to hear that. So that is the chance to keep having for test. And the things we think, say, and do is this group.
Is that we're all concerned? That we've been able to better practice. We'll be beneficial to all concerned. I was just gonna ask. Yeah. Well, that was. I had to melt.